Time to play some stuff.
Enemy in the air! What are you doing? Don't take off, you idiots! No! Damn it!
Find cover! We have a new predator in our midst! Don't assault them head on! We don't have the weapons to repel them!
I do. Cover my people. Maybe we can turn this disaster around.
Goodman's Log, Supplemental. Not long after the inaugural entry in this adventure journal, our good friend Mordramoth decided to send us a welcoming committee. Yes, a giant tentacle-type vine thing shot out of the ground so fast, it's little wonder it took out our entire fleet of airships. And as the Pale Reavers began opening fire on the monsters that spewed forth after that thing shot out of the ground, our local Char agent, an explosives and demolitions expert, figured we'd probably have a chance of destroying those things if we could get into some old ruins, dig in, and let off some mortars. It was a crazy plan, but up to this point, everything we had seen in this jungle was nothing short of crazy, so it totally was absolutely not out of place. Well, the good news in that initial fight was I did get to take the old hammer for a spin, although I'm wondering if I should start befriending some engineers so they can bust out the flamethrowers on these plant monsters. Yeah. You know, I think I will never look at eating vegetables the same way ever again once this war is over. Matter of fact, a good steak is feeling quite delicious right now, or seeming quite delicious anyways. It was during these doldrums in the jungle that we realized that if the plants didn't eat us, this war would eat away at our minds. It was not going to be a glorious battle with heroic knights tooting around in tin suits and parading in flashy uniforms. That kind of warfare was over. Away were the tales of heroic chivalry and knights and honor, and now it was all about dust and grit and doom and gloom and just trying to stay alive and kill the enemy by any means necessary. It left us, even knights like ourselves, it would leave us wondering why we ever subscribed to the notion of honorable, just warfare in the first place. War is always dirty, and this jungle campaign so far was turning out to be no exception. The Pale Reavers piqued my interest with their weapons, though. Long-range rifles that could fire multiple shots in a burst fashion. I would have to consult with my engineering friends about how such a thing could even be possible, because the most I had seen from the engineers I know is blunderbuss weapons that fired a lot of whatever at once. Perhaps this was a new, efficient way of combat. It made me wish for the more noble ways of swinging swords around, but the way war had gotten in this jungle, it was getting uglier by the minute.
I see you've taken command of my forces.
Chief Aviator Skybreaker, 14th Air Watch. I rescued these cubs after their ship was brought down.
Thanks. Can your copters airlift us out of here? Or search for more survivors?
No one's going anywhere. The enemy controls the air. We're low on fuel, and the pilots are spooked.
What was it, this enemy air support?
Damn things forced us out of the sky. Fast, brutal. Never seen anything like them. As for you, weed, make any strange moves, and I'll feed you to the vines.
At last, a glimpse of hope on that day in this hellhole. It appears I was on the right track when it came to fire and plants, except the Char had even bigger and boomier aspirations. Yes, explosives, heavy explosives, were the key, apparently, to knocking back these giant vines, and so it was time to go after a really, really big one by infiltrating some ruins. If we could get into the ruins, there was a nice cliffside that we could set up mortars on to fire on one of the really, really big ones.
That feels good.
Welcome to war, soldier, where the road home, or even the road to a glorious holiday, leads to a trail of blood, tears, and bodies. And in our case, fire, explosions, and magic. as we sought to take out the plant monsters that Mordremoth so conveniently threw our way.
Burn my tail, we're blocked again.
And worse, we're trapped here. I believe it's time we blast our way through.
Thought you'd never ask.
To the walls! Hold
You
them
can
back!
never have too much treasure.
Once further into the ruins, we were brutally reminded that sometimes it wouldn't always be the plants getting in our way. Nope, this time it was the structure of the ruins we were in. As the demolitions experts set up the charges, we had to fend off waves of Mordrim that thought they had backed us into a corner. It was then that I got to finally try out the Pale Reaver's new weapon. I can't say I'm too much of a gun crazy, well, I'm not like my friend Jethro Fudner, who happens to love guns like there's no tomorrow. Let's just say I'm just lucky that the recoil from this thing didn't blow me into the dirt.
Refreshing.
Nonetheless, it was a very satisfying weapon to fire. It's just too bad the Pale Reavers wouldn't let me keep mine afterwards. War supplies, requisitions, they said, have to keep all the weapons near the troops. And folks like myself who were just in here for the adventure, well, maybe my friend Jethro can enlighten me some more about these things, but they're quite effective. The issue is, though, if your enemy gets too close, it gets a little awkward to aim because these things are made for range. Not really all that great when somebody's running after you and the thing only fires 3 shots and then you have to wait to reload the darn thing. It's a little bit slow, but at least it fires in burst mode, and the issues that can come about with amateurs like myself engaging in long-range gunfights can be somewhat alleviated by the repeating design that fires multiple shots in one round. It was an interesting weapon to work with, indeed. However, I think I'll stick to my more traditional armaments of sorts. That's not to say my fellow soldiers and I weren't smart enough to know when to put down the long-range rifles and switch back to more traditional fare for dealing with the Mordrim that happened to make it past our gunfire. But we were like children on Winter's Day playing with all the new toys. It's just too bad the Pale Reavers needed them back once we were done with them.
Fine shooting back there.
We should have had 100 rifles on our side.
And with the 14th providing recon, we would have been unstoppable.
We'll make do. Let's push ahead.
This place is a crawling, creeping labyrinth. Things are so much easier in the air. We're gonna need a solid supply line if we want to make a real assault.
You take the supplies. We'll provide cover.
I don't know if I like letting you out of my sight.
Chief, had we wanted you dead, we wouldn't have gone to all this effort.
Yeah, I get it. Cut me some slack. Been a hell of a day so far.
And amidst all of our troubles that day, the Sylvari question remained unanswered. What were the Sylvari's ties to Mordremoth, if any? Could we trust the Sylvari in our ranks? I know some folks in the ranks had already made that decision, perhaps prematurely. This would be a problem that would dog us for the duration of this war, until Mordremoth was no more.
Hold here until the other team is in position. Get those mortars set up. We'll be turning that thing into compost. Defend the mortar shells. We can't lose the artillery. Everyone get on a mortar and open fire!
And there it was, the big one, the one that we hoped that we could take out, to set a precedent in this war against the evil plant dragon. Right next to one of our crashed airships, too. It would be just retribution for what that monster had done to our fleet. And all those people on board, all those airships. It was then that I realized that this war was grander than any one of us. One of the things that many people in militaries talk about in Tyria is the idea that when you put on that uniform, you are becoming something greater than yourself. It's all part of being part of something that's bigger than you are, and winning glorious fights and battles, and at least that's what they tell you when you're training. But the reality is, teamwork was the name of the game here. Yes, we were all great heroes in our own rights, but it was only through working together that this monster would ever come down. And Mordremoth's minions made sure to keep us well occupied, with regular smaller monsters coming after us as we tried to fire the mortars. It proved to be a futile distraction, though, as eventually we got enough of those things lobbed. Well, you'll see.
I hope you choke on that Mordremoth.
The first of many victories, I hope. Well done, Chief.
Now that this sector is clear, we can evac your unit.
Prioritize the wounded. The Reavers and I have another mission. One deeper in the jungle.
You're going after Mordremoth? Oh, you've lost it. You're gonna get killed. Or worse.
Chief, can you please tell everyone you see that not all of us follow Mordremoth? Some still fight for Tyria.
Yeah, I can do that. Good hunting, Warmaster.
Victory had indeed been ours. And finally, a ray of hope in this blasted hellhole of a jungle. It was nice to see that Mordremoth's minions could be beaten with enough firepower. The issue was, how much longer would this war go on? And every night when we set up camp, I thought about my one and only. She was supposed to join us eventually on this grand campaign. But until then, there was at least a flicker of hope. That not only would I see her again and we would fight this one out together, but that this monster of a plant dragon would one day meet his doom. That was what I was thinking of when dusk fell on that day. A hard-won victory, yes, but still much, much, much more work to do. Much more.